You know, when we think of our planet, we often picture continents and land. But the truth is, most of our world isn't land at all. It's this vast, deep, and seriously unknown ocean. I mean, get this. We literally have better maps of the surface of Mars than we do of our own seafloor. So, let's dive into this incredible frontier and try to understand the immense pressure it's under right now.
For the longest time, the #1 rule in biology was simple. All life needs the sun. But then, in 1977, something happened that just completely tore up the rulebook. Explorers near the Galapagos Islands stumbled upon these hydrothermal vents and found them teeming with life. Bizarre creatures thriving in total darkness, running on pure chemical energy. It was a mind-blowing discovery that showed us just how little we actually knew about life on our own planet.
And the scale of what we don't know is just staggering. Let this number really sink in for a second. 95%. That's how much of Earth's livable space is in the ocean. It is, by a huge margin, the largest habitat on our world. And yeah, most of it is still a complete mystery to us.
Okay, so let's talk about what we do know. The ocean isn't just a giant pool of water, right? It's really the planet's blue heart. It's the fundamental life support system that makes this entire rock habitable for all of us.
And a huge part of that job has to do with our climate. The ocean basically acts like a giant sponge for carbon dioxide. It has absorbed about a third of all the CO2 we've pumped out, and it stores an absolutely mind-boggling amount of carbon. I mean, more than 28 times what's in all the forests and the air put together. This is one of the main reasons our climate has stayed relatively stable for so long.
But here's the problem. That critical system, it's in trouble. Our planet's blue heart is showing major signs of stress, and it's sending out these distress signals that we're only just now starting to really understand.
And you can see that crisis right here in these numbers. Just look at what's happening to our coral reefs. Back in 1998, a major event hit about a fifth of the world's reefs. Fast forward to 2017, and that jumped to over 2/3. And in the latest event, an unprecedented 84% of the world's reefs have been hit with bleaching level heat. This is not some slow, gradual change, you guys. This is a rapid, accelerating collapse of an entire global ecosystem.
And this isn't just some abstract scientific problem. As the president of Palau Serangal Whips Jr. puts it so clearly, this is a direct threat to the lives and livelihoods of entire nations. For people who live on atolls, when a reef dies, so does their protection from storms, their main source of food, and a huge part of their culture.
And it's not just the warming. All that extra CO2 the ocean is absorbing creates what scientists call the other CO2 problem, ocean acidification. The chemistry is pretty straightforward. More CO2 in the water makes it more acidic, and that makes it way harder for animals like corals, clams, and oysters to build their shells. This is a huge deal because it threatens the very foundation of the marine food web.
So we've got a massive crisis on our hands, in a place we barely understand. How in the world do you even begin to get a handle on that? Well, the answer lies in some pretty incredible technology.
First up, meet the Argo Array. The best way to think about these is like a global weather balloon network, but for the ocean. We've got over 3,000 of these robotic floats constantly drifting around the globe, diving down and then coming back up to the surface. They measure temperature and saltiness down to 2,000 meters, and their data has shown us one thing very, very clearly. The deep ocean is warming up relentlessly.
And to go even deeper, we rely on these guys, autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs. These are our deep-sea explorers. They're basically untethered robots that can go map completely uncharted territory in the most extreme environments on Earth. These are the workhorses that dive into the crushing pressures of the abyss. We're talking 6,000 meters down to give us our first real look at the deep sea floor.
So while the AUVs are giving us that incredible close-up view, satellites like SWAT are giving us the big picture. Orbiting almost 900 kilometers above us, SWAT uses advanced radar to measure the height of the ocean's surface with insane precision. This lets scientists track currents and heat all over the globe. It's like they're taking the planet's pulse from space. Okay, so this flood of new data has created a whole new sense of urgency. For the first time, we can really see not just how vital the ocean is, but just how fragile it is too. And all this new scientific understanding has kicked off a landmark political response.
And this brings us to the central challenge, right? The high seas, that's all the water beyond any single country's control, make up nearly 2/3 of the entire ocean. It's a true global commons.
So how do you protect a place that belongs to everybody, and at the same time, to nobody?
For decades, the honest answer was, we didn't. Before this new treaty, less than 1% of this massive, critical ecosystem had any protection at all. It was basically the Wild West. Now, for the first time in human history, we have a global framework for us to manage it together. This is a huge, monumental shift.
It's officially called the BBNJ Agreement, but most people know it as the High Seas Treaty. It was adopted in 2023, and its goal is actually pretty simple, but it's also revolutionary: to create a legal way to conserve and sustainably use the biodiversity of the high seas.
So how's it supposed to work? Well, the whole treaty is built on 4 key pillars. First, a process for creating marine protected areas out in the open ocean. Second, making sure activities like deep sea mining require an environmental impact assessment. Third, a system for fairly sharing the benefits from marine genetic resources, like when a new medicine is developed from an ocean creature. And finally, making sure that technology and training are shared so developing countries can be a real part of the process.
Okay, so we've got the science screaming that there's a crisis, and now we have a global treaty that's actually designed to deal with it. So what happens now? Where do we go from here?
Well, when you boil it all down, it comes to this. As Dr. David Abora puts it so bluntly, all the amazing tools and all the historic treaties in the world won't be enough if we don't fix the root cause. The survival of entire ecosystems, like coral reefs, depends completely on us cutting our emissions and keeping warming below 1.5 degrees. The bottom line is, the fate of the ocean is really decided here on land.
The ocean is the one thing that truly connects our entire planet and every single one of us on it. The science couldn't be clearer, the political framework is finally falling into place, and the stakes, well, they couldn't be higher. The only question left is the one we all have to answer together.